PTF and JK back with you for our almost final top 10 video for this year's Kentucky Derby / Triple Crown. Pleased to be back with you. Pleased to have this new list. Thank you so much to our friend over at InTheMoneyPodcast.com, Eric DeCoster, for putting this list together. Thanks also to our friends at Rein Coffee for sponsoring this video. We're going to be back in a few minutes with a couple more words about them. But JK, let's get right to this top 10 list. And we start with a new player, Resilience, the Wood Memorial winner, making a deserved appearance on this list. I was sleeping on him a little bit coming into the race. Hard to sleep on him coming out. What did you think of this run in the Wood Memorial? What do you think of Resilience as a contender for the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, and look, I think this is a really top-heavy year, right? So it's no offense to Resilience, but he definitely deserves to be on this list. You win the Wood Memorial, you beat a group of 13 other horses, or 13 total horses. You deserve to be on a top 10 list for the Kentucky Derby. He's a sneaky horse to use maybe underneath. I don't think he'll be getting the roses draped over his back.
Let's move on to Domestic Product, a horse we haven't seen run since the Tampa Bay Derby. Very light in figure terms, but as we've discussed, this pace was so slow. There's only so fast they could go late. Not the more fancied of the Chad Brown runners, but does Domestic Product have a chance?
You know, for me, he just seems like one that is probably a cut below. He deserves to be here. He's earned the right to run in the Kentucky Derby. But he just doesn't necessarily seem like a horse that's fast enough to be participating in this race at the top level, but he definitely deserves to be in the race.
Let's talk about Honor Marie, our number 8 on this top 10. This is a horse I've liked quite a lot. We had that institutional knowledge, that firsthand knowledge from Frank McGoey before the first race that he was short of fitness, ran okay there, improved markedly in the second start. Could he be set for a peak effort, third time off the layoff? Maybe they go a little faster than we expect. Can Honor Marie get a piece or more?
Yeah, and you're going to hear a lot for the next couple of weeks about how the fact this horse has run well at Churchill Downs. People love to get excited about a horse that runs well at Churchill Downs as if that's going to be the thing that propels them into the winner's circle on the first Saturday in May. But I will say this is an interesting horse to use underneath. A horse that's going to be finishing his races while the others aren't. A horse that's trending into peak form. I like Honor Marie quite a bit in those third and fourth spots. Maybe even a really, price injecting second place in an exactas or whatnot. I think Honor Marie is definitely one you want to keep in the mix. Don't think the horse is talented enough to win the race, but I do think will be making noise late in the lane.
Number 7 on our list is one of the most intriguing horses with the most upside potentially of any. Only 3 starts for Just a Touch. Just a Touch ran a huge race in the Bluegrass. This is a race that the fractions were fast throughout. In fact, JK, on the Timeform US algorithm performance rating, this horse, Just a Touch, ran significantly better on those performance ratings than the winner did. What are you expecting from Just a Touch in the Kentucky Derby?
Look, we got a lot of weeks of coverage, so if you're tuning in now, I'm going to go ahead and give this to you now, and you'll hear it from me basically for the next 3 to 4 weeks. I only think that 3 horses that can win the Kentucky Derby: Fierceness, Sierra Leone, and Just a Touch. Those are the only 3 that I truly believe can win in multi-race wagers. I can't see myself being alive to too many other horses outside of those 3. I thought Just a Touch ran extremely well, and I think that he's trending in the right direction. And with the right setup, and maybe one of the top 2 getting stopped, they're not getting it their way, Just a Touch can absolutely win the Kentucky Derby.
Number 6, Doruk. This horse we've been talking about for a long time. Connections experimented in the Bluegrass Stakes. They already had the points to get in. They said, we know this horse likes to run on the lead. Let's see what happens if he stalks. Maybe stalking and pouncing is a style that's going to help us later. He didn't like the stalking so much, JK, but Eric DeCoster made the excellent point when putting together this new top 10 that it might be a different story come Kentucky Derby Day where they let him use his speed. Maybe he could revert to previous winning ways in that. I don't know. I'm still a little skeptical, but as I think about it, he clearly deserves a spot in this top 10.
Yeah, I'm really skeptical. I don't need Doruk at all. His front running wasn't that good in the first place. And then they experimented with him not making the lead, and that wasn't very good. I don't see a world in which he's going to get an easy lead or a lead where he doesn't have a superior animal looking him in the eye all the way around there. I don't need Doruk at all.
Number 5 is Stronghold, the lone representative from the California contingent. I gave this horse short shrift in the Santa Anita Derby. He kicked sand in my face. but he didn't crack the 90 buyer speed figure threshold. I think he belongs on the list. 5 feels a little high to me, though. I'm not super interested in Stronghold moving forward. Am I being too cynical?
No, I don't need him as well. You know, if you can't crack the 90 when we're talking about the leader in the clubhouse at a 110, you got problems.
Let's take a quick break just to let you know a little bit more about our friends over at Rein Coffee. Been great to be working with them. And the best part about working with them, I get to drink the stuff every day. I'm a big fan of the whole beans and the varieties of flavors that they offer, as well as the grounds. Been using those in the French press. And then they have pods as well. And my mom, who's a pod drinker, sent me a text. I'll have to show it in one of these future videos where she said it was the best coffee she'd had in a long time. So don't believe me, believe my mom. Great stuff from Rein Coffee, helping us to get up and get after it throughout this Triple Crown season. And best of all, we've got a 20% site-wide discount right now on all that stuff. Go to the website, click this link right in the video, and make sure you get on the free range train. They offer subscription services as well. Extremely convenient way to get the caffeine in delicious form that you need in your life. Free Rein Coffee Company. Check it out. We're down to the final four, JK, starting with a horse who's very intriguing and I do think is going to attract a lot of attention as we get closer and closer. Last seen in the UAE Derby, this Japanese contender, Forever Young. We estimate this speed figure from the last day to be about 100. I'll be honest with you, it's an absolute guess. It's a tricky thing. We're going to try to talk to some other people who have knowledge about figures over there in the Middle East and see what we can get. The bigger concern about Forever Young, some of the quotes from connections about how much he doesn't like kickback. That's not going to be easy when it comes to the first Saturday in May. I know you're somebody who said in the past you think Japan will eventually get a Kentucky Derby. Could it be this year with Forever Young?
Well, like I said, I think that it's one of those years where you know, in order for Japan to win, we kind of need to not have anyone special, and it seems like we might have a couple of special horses, probably one for sure, right? Fierceness looks to be pretty special, running a 110 buyer. That's special. Sierra Leone, what Sierra Leone has done and has improved in that grindy style of just always being there late in these races. Another one who I think is going to be tough. That's the only hesitation I have with a horse like Forever Young. Probably a horse that, you know, I'd use as like a B type. Wouldn't want to get beat if he jumps up and runs well, but not one that I'll be hitching my wagon to, at least at this point.
We'll see what they do with the betting on him. It could be fascinating. I could see him being 8-1. I could see him being 15-1. And which one of those he is might determine what we end up doing. Let's talk about number 3, Catching Freedom. You said nice things about Honor Marie a little bit earlier in the piece. Catching Freedom has the slightly better profile, one could argue, at least in form and figure terms. How seriously are you taking Catching Freedom?
I take Catching Freedom seriously, but he's the type of horse that I think has a significantly more likely chance to win than a horse like Honor Marie. But he's also going to be a significantly shorter price than Honor Marie. So I think that Honor Marie offers more value in that arena. Catching Freedom's the type of closer that it's going to have to beat me. I'm just going to let this horse beat me. If he works out a perfect trip and wins, then great. Good for him. High five, Brad Cox. High five, Catching Freedom. I just don't trust horses like this in the Kentucky Derby. They need things to go their way, and it doesn't often happen that way. And that's why I respect the horse, and I wouldn't talk anyone off the horse. It's just the way that I'm going to approach the race. I'm likely going to let him beat me. Now, I reserve the right. If this horse starts training like a monster and people are talking about how aggressive he's been in the morning and how good he looks, I can change my view there. But here, 4 weeks out, that's how I feel about it.
Speaking of training, we're going to have coverage of training the week of at Churchill Downs, our YouTube channel. This is the best place to get this type of information. We encourage you to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a video and click that notification bell as well. We move on to the top 2. And interestingly, JK, if people who are actually taking bets on the Kentucky Derby at this stage, aka UK bookmakers, were making this list, they would have flipped it from the order that Eric DeCoster put it in. I'm with Eric DeCoster. I like it this way, with number 2 being Sierra Leone, coming off an impressive win in the Bluegrass Stakes, not without its drama. He acted up before the race, not a great harbinger necessarily of things to come Kentucky Derby Day when they're not acting well out there going into the gate. But he was cut after this smashing victory to 5-2, clear favorite over the horse we're about to talk about in a second. What do you think of Sierra Leone? Is 5-2 favoritism going too far in your estimation? Because it is to me.
Yeah, I think it is. And I think that there's two reasons why that happened, if we're being honest, right? One is I think that the UK comfort and familiarity with the navy blue silks and Coolmore as an operation, I think that has part to do with it. And I also think the other part to do with that is the fact that, European racing isn't as figure based as what we do. And based on those things, I think that's why probably Sierra Leone has the advantage in the market. But I will say this: Sierra Leone deserves to be having a lot of attention. I mean, like I said, a very likely winner of this race. If anything, if any of those people who think Fierceness needs things his own way are right, then Sierra Leone is absolutely the horse to beat. We know Sierra Leone is going to be running late. We'll have some obstacles potentially in terms of trip. If they don't work out a good one, you got to work through that. But one of the things about Chad Brown trained horses is that they are very push button. They know when to listen to the rider's cues by the way they're trained in the morning, and that's a nice tool to have in a 20 horse field. I like Sierra Leone quite a bit. I just think I like another horse a little bit more.
That other horse, number one on this list, Fierceness. We don't have to spend a ton of time on him because we've talked about him in so many videos. He hasn't run since the last video. He put up that tour de force last time out in the Florida Derby, a 110 buyer speed figure. He looks to be the best speed at this point. Not that there isn't other speed. You and I feel both, I think, pretty confident about his chances. Odds of about 4-1 right now. I think he's going to be shorter on the day as people really start to look at the gap between his 110 and what these others are running. Where are you standing at this moment with Fierceness? Did anything you see this weekend give you any pause about having him number one on this list or as your clear choice for the Kentucky Derby?
We're going to be talking about this race for a while, so let's just get to the point here. I think he's a special talent, and I think that I'll put it into form like this. He ran a 110 buyer speed figure in the Florida Derby. American Pharoah and Justify, when they won the Triple Crown, here are their Triple Crown figures: 105, 102, 105, 103, 97, and 101. Those are the six numbers that those horses earned in the Derby, Preakness, and Belmont the years they won the Triple Crown. Fierceness is very fast, and he could be very, very special.
Going to have so much more. We've got the draw. We've got workouts. We've got all this stuff coming down the pike. So this is far from the last word, but it is our final top 10 after the major preps have been run. We want to hear from you guys in the comments about what you would have on the list at this point. We're going to get to many more comments. We didn't get to any in this week's videos, but we're going to show your winning comments in later videos as far as these most recent round of preps go. But subscribe to In the Money Media. Check out more over at inthemoneypodcast.com/plus. Just want to highlight this cool promotion from our friend at Twinspires, the Daily Double Down. Opt in and hit 2 daily doubles to receive a 25% boost on all winning daily double wagers at Keeneland every Wednesday through Friday in April. For JK, I'm PTF. Thanks to our friends at Rein Coffee. May you win all your photos.